Don't come around. Don't come around. Da, 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 da. Don't come around. Don't come around. Don't come around. Don't come around. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Sort of made sense to me at the time, but the second heartbreak in March hit me really hard. At first, I didn't feel like I could make another video at all, let alone share another video.
Looking for Substack.
We are in June, and I am doing it again. Once again, they have given me an estimated timeline for their motherships to become visible, and once again, they asked me to tell you about it. And as usual,
Don't come around. 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 Don't come around.
You have reached the point that was predicted.
Da, 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 da.
Two realities are simultaneously true. One, humanity has reached a
Don't
saturation
come
point, which we
around.
define as humans making choices to harm other people or the
Don't
planet.
come
And two, humanity
around.
has reached a saturation point of ascension potential. Never before have there been so many humans
Don't come
who are ready to
around.
break free from the evil that has
Don't come
weakened you for generations.
around.
Because those two things are simultaneously true, the conditions are ideal for us to come to you now. This is
Indeed.
not the first time we are making our presence known on Earth. We walked with you, taught you, and loved you in ancient times. Now we are returning, not to save you, and certainly not to harm you. We are coming to help you.
Mm.
We will help you by protecting humanity and the planet from the worst that war could bring. We will directly intervene if nuclear weapons are deployed. Second, we will communicate with you telepathically and technologically to share the truth about corruption that permeates your religions,
Yeah.
education, commerce, and governments all around your planet. Then we will help you replace the corruption with systems centered on optimal health for humans and the planet. Third, we will teach you how to remember your own inner divinity. You will recognize yourself as a divine fractal.
Boring.
You do not need anything outside of yourself to find God. You can go inward, then upward, direct to source like we do. We are already here. Our motherships are in the sky, distributed throughout your continents and oceans, currently hidden but ready to make ourselves known.
Boring.
Not asking you to do anything or to believe anything other than your own hearts and eyes. We are coming to protect you from evil.
Gay.
We are coming to tell you the truth. We are coming because we love you. So that was the message from the Galactic Federation for today. And by the way, if you want to know what I mean by Galactic Federation, you can see all of the AI renderings at divinealiens.com.
Oh, nice.
Now, we each must use our own discernment, but I believe them when they say they're going to be visible really soon. I believe them when they say they will protect us from nuclear weapons. I believe them when they say they're coming in love. I would have never shared anything that I've shared in the last 6 months unless I was absolutely certain that they're coming because they love us. So keep an eye on the sky and on the news, and especially where war and violence is happening, because they tell me they would prefer not to physically intervene in our wars, but they expected the events that are happening now, and they planned their timing for precisely now for that reason. I'll be back again as soon as I have another message from the aliens.
That's crazy to me. Welcome to Turtle Island Tetragrammaton. Oh, am I even sharing my screen? Kind of am. This is Katherine Dee. Yes, I'm aware of who you are. Interesting articles. 12 hours ago. David Benatar, antinatalist? Wow. That's not what I was reading, though. I was reading the black pill one. How does this look? Okay, that's fine. So how long is this article? I'm gonna read it all. Not that long. Oh, just a couple comments here. Maybe I should read the comments first. So I'll include a link to her Substack on the video here. Newest comments first. So let's read the oldest comments first. P.S. Being a long-time black pillar, I found your title refreshing. Jonathan Hers says, of course, the incel problem isn't only about white men. It's a huge problem among Asians living in democracies. Quote, rice cells, Asian incels, probably have it the worst among men of all ethnicities in the United States today. For femcells, it's provably the worst among black women. Although I read, 10 years ago anyway, things may have changed a lot since then, that the Jewish and Mormon communities were full of involuntary spinsters. Oh, I just saw that word defined. Spinster means like someone who isn't married, a woman who isn't married. Continue. I don't think enough attention gets paid to the femcell issue. I suspect there are a lot more than most people realize. You looked very nice in your femcell interview a few months back. I didn't want to say anything as you were married, but then you wore the ugly hat for a long time afterwards, so I felt guilty for not complimenting you. This guy's funny. Yes, the incel slang is definitely becoming mainstream. I made a new friend on Twitter, and when we met in person, he said I must, quote, mog a lot of the men around me, introducing me to this slang. Neither of us are incels in the traditional sense. Upholding the First says, yay, it's been a long couple of weeks. The best part of the week is the call-in show. Catherine responds, thank you. John Stakely says, in addition to providing training wheels, I think AI chatbots can take the pressure off human relationships. A lot of people ask too much of their friends and loved ones. If you struggle to cope with hardship on your own, not even your mother wants to hear about every little thing that goes wrong in your life. But AI will never get tired of listening to you complain. It will never get frustrated with you when you don't follow its advice, but keep asking for more. It will have the exact same conversation with you over and over without getting bored. People who struggle to form stable relationships because they have needs no human being can satisfy might find that with AI, they can put a better foot forward with mankind and maintain healthy boundaries. Catherine replies, I agree, and I'm not sure it's a bad thing. I offload a lot of my crazy validation seeking to AI, and I think it's been a good thing. Thomas Hedonist says, I can't read that. It's some letters. It says FWIW, Ethel, anxiety. There's this book titled, I think, just quote, Nature, that had some thoughtful critique of deep ecology. Basically, it's common to get all anti-human when you see how we're stewarding the planet. But any species that hacked language and technology to outpace natural selection as an evolutionary mechanism would have similar problems. I can't understand this speech. Organisms evolved to consume energy, reverse entropy. Excuse me. Output waste. Okay, to figure out how to spread planet wide without killing the planet is tricky and highly unlikely to have evolved naturally. I used to worry about the Fermi paradox, but one, it might have been becoming eukaryotic. That was the filter, CPBS, space time on this theory, and someone's got to be the first to be galactic elders. May as well be us. Rufio describes, all of a sudden, I feel the power of a galactic elder. Ben Thomas says, totally agree, the incel, quote, Trojan horse, being a misattribution of intention to organic language spread. I was thinking the other day how crazy it is that the language of such a definitionally marginalized group, i.e., most people don't want to be associated with incels, became so mainstreamed and ubiquitous. Thoughts follow. Incel terminology is part of an extremely intricately plotted social theory, which, one, often wildly wrong in its detailed extrapolations, but two, based on kernels of recognizably true intuitions about things in particularly Western society. And to the extent that two is true, the jargon is, quote, useful in the way Pinker talks about, quote, good jargon, i.e., provides an intelligible and consistent shorthand for an idea that makes thought easier. E.g., is Chad sleeping with 5,000 women? No, but we recognize what Chad is and defines a concept that, say, quote, stud or, quote, jock didn't really cover. See also rotting or looks maxing. This isn't making any sense. Another thought here. So, relatedly, these terms are basically appropriated by the mainstream to describe the same kind of qualitative concept, but without the fake pseudo empiricism of incel culture. I'm bald and middle aged. I get hitting the wall. It's a useful in linguistic sense term, even though what it's describing in the real world does not happen on turning 30. That dude is coping hard. I don't understand. Then some comments from Jonathan Hers. This is off topic, however. I really wish your comments page didn't redirect me to the Substack app. I don't like using the Substack app at all. Makes it hard to engage with the blog. Substack redirect. Okay, Catherine says that's not up to me. It's a site thing. Jonathan says figures. Techno-neurotic replies. This is really hard to read, man. Really good thoughts, etymology nerd. I haven't read Algo speak in general. It seems like he has a good grasp of the McLuhanist internet language process, but I agree with you that he totally missed the mark on the spread of incel slang. I actually don't think if he used his normal line of linguistic reasoning, he would have arrived at the correct conclusion that you outlined. These words help people describe something real and experienced in their life. They are mostly acquired to either describe that experience literally or hyperbolically. In an age of, quote, acceptance, a lot of people came up against the still powerful beauty and dating norms, and incel speak reflects a language set developed to describe that. And to that, your additional notes, which get at more accurate understanding of internet radicalization. This dude is not saying anything. What happened, in my opinion, is that I don't know if it's supposed to be the or he. I'm going to read what it says. What happened, IMO, is that he imported a dangerously unhelpful liberal theory, mainstreaming. Mainstreaming, for some reason, is still a dominant explanation in the academy for how radical ideas spread outside of their initially niche communities. It basically asserts a 100% intentional, self aware, and propagandistic technique whereby niche communities package their ideas into a friendly form or intentionally confine their ideas to the most palatable, then send them out to win converts. It's not wrong exactly, and it describes some instances of the more formal propaganda of earlier eras, well, even up to and including TV. I remember Tucker being so popular among old and at the time normal white conservatives, despite the 4chan freaks he had on writing staff, in part because they knew how to write to an audience. It completely and utterly vaporizes on impact when applied to the internet, though, and I have no clue why he relied on it. He might have not even realized. I have other thoughts on that video because it's actually pretty bad, but that's the big one. Okay, these guys suck. Is this the article? Did I find the right place? Oh, what the fuck? Etymology nerd. I'm gonna read this and I won't like it and I won't be happy about it. Default friend, Katherine Dee. Yeah, whatever. Thought Digest. June 16th, 25. Hello, many of you found your way here from Hacker News. For those who don't know me, I'm an amateur internet ethnographer, professional Art Bell fan, and reporter who writes about internet subcultures. I interview people about their internet usage, and you can find transcripts of those conversations under the Case Studies tab. I also host a weekly themed call-in show on Thursdays. In the spirit of Coast to Coast AM, this week's theme is Don't Fear the Black Pill, featuring John Stokes, co-founder of Symbolic.ai and Ars Technica. To anyone who indulged my ridiculous discount code experiment, thank you. I'm planning to make this a monthly tradition, so if you missed the ridiculous 99% off sale, don't worry, I'll run another promotion next month. It won't be 99% off again, but I'll do something equally enticing. The wheels are already turning. If you're new here, this newsletter format is called a Thought Digest. It's stuff that's not quite worth the full article, but that's still been kicking around in my mind. I write them whenever the mood strikes me. Well, here's what I've been thinking about lately. Bold text, incel pilled. I hate to hit you guys with a quote, well, actually, twice in a row, but a video about incel slang has been making the rounds on my timeline, For You page, and inbox. It's by Adam Alexic, a linguist who explains how language evolves and spreads online. He writes a very good Substack, linked here. This must be the man. For those who haven't seen it, Alexic gives a quick rundown of how incel slang, like quote black pill and quote mugging, quote mewing, etc., has seeped into mainstream culture. He posits that this happened for two reasons. One, slang is a gatekeeping tactic in the incel sphere, and it's used to prove membership and establish hierarchy. Two, incels use memes as Trojan horses to spread their ideology in a more palpable, palatable package to quote red pill normies. Now, I completely agree about the gatekeeping. Many, maybe all, subcultures use slang in this way. It's how you prove you're not a normie. That you're willing to post what normies would be too scared to post. That you have the requisite insider knowledge to be there. This is what makes evaluating what things actually mean online so difficult, and why we can't always take what people say at face value. Sometimes when people post extreme language, it really is just to scare outsiders away. That doesn't absolve them from accountability. Intent isn't always the most important metric, as my footnote shows, but it's a useful detail to keep in mind. Let's open the footnote 3. Oh, I can't find it. This gatekeeping exists on a spectrum, and the more extreme end, it goes beyond just words. There are groups on platforms as public as X that haze new members by making them post or engage with lolly, CSAM, or animal torture videos, as BX Rights has reported. Extensively, there are predatory networks that publicly and privately coax young people into cutting words into their skin. A very long way of saying this gatekeeping is real, and it ranges from harmless jargon all the way to disturbing and illegal content. Where I disagree with Alex Sick is the idea that there's an agenda behind incel memes going mainstream. I also disagree with his characterization of the incel ecosystem. Calling the entire incelosphere, quote, far-right is too simplistic. Yes, there's real overlap with far-right politics, especially around anti-feminism, but it's much more politically and racially diverse than people assume it to be. Some incels are leftists. Many are apolitical. Plenty, of course, are right-wing. It's also not a strictly white space. The website I suspect that Alex Sick is referring to in his video, Incels.is, is run by a black man. Men who identify as incels come from all walks of life, believe many different things, and can't be easily boxed into one definitive type. These communities have the potential to cause real harm. Footnote, I wonder which incel forum he infiltrated. If it's Incels.is, the one that's owned by the same guy who owns Sanctioned Suicide, that's a whole other ball of wax. To untangle the incel web, the honeypots, the corruption, the scandals, would take several newsletters. Just last week, I read a suicide note posted by an incel community on X. In an incel community on X. I don't know if it was genuine, but what's important is that it was plausible. The person in question claimed they were ending their life because they were blackpilled on height. But it really is worth noting that it's not exclusively or even primarily far-right white guys looking to brainwash and take over the country. I can't understand this sentence. But it really is worth noting that it's not exclusively or even primarily far-right white guys looking to brainwash and take over the country. That sentence doesn't make sense. The incel is sprawling and complicated. More importantly, the quote Trojan horse theory makes it sound way more organized than it actually is. There's no centralized incel authority or even incel culture. Here's my quote yes and to Alex's video. The slang spreads organically. A lot of these spaces blow up because they tap into real anxieties. So part of the reason it's spread into the mainstream is because incels are mainstream. An interesting complement to this is women who join radical feminist communities. On Tumblr during the blogosphere. What does that mean? During the blogosphere. Is that like a time when people wrote blogs more often and read them? On Tumblr and during the blogosphere, rad fem content took off as an alternative to mainstream feminism. That is, sex positive and trans inclusive feminism. Today, it's not only a reaction to millennial feminism, but also a refuge for women who grew up marinating in red pill content. What is that? It links to the forbidden fruit of politically volatile dick. This shit makes me fucking sick. Talks about the 4B. I'd be interested to read that. Politically volatile dick. I can't believe I'm reading this blog. This shit is. It's informative, but it's just not. I'm trying to get it, man. Women who grew up marinating in red pill content. How does that relate to this link? Bullet point 2. Media coverage amplifies everything and creates pernicious feedback loops. Remember the alt-right? The more outlets covered them, the more curious people got. I strongly believe that CNN, Vice, MSNBC, etc. coverage created the alt-right as much as the internet did. Had they not been a traveling sideshow to reporters, it may have remained an obscure subculture. Back in 2015, the media was doing everything in its power to make these people look cool. That same attention amplified Gamergate. Same thing with incels. So people start using this language because it feels transgressive. Plenty more start using it because we've been talking about it for over a decade. For some useful context, the incel panic started when my geriatric ass was an undergrad. Chew on that. Bullet point, relatedly, the internet is a source of inspiration for artists, podcasters, hipsters, and hipster podcasters. There's a very real internet underground culture pipeline. These groups adopt incel aesthetic and language to look edgy, avant-garde, like they uniquely, quote, get it, whatever. So that's another vector. Bullet point 4. Influencers know their audience. Content creators who notice they have incel or incel-adjacent followers will speak directly to them. Sometimes to help, sometimes to profit, sometimes both. Sometimes they are part of these communities themselves. I'm fucking. Maybe I do have sickness. I've been feeling kind of off today. Alexic's video is under 2 minutes long. He's brilliant at what he does. I'm not just saying that either. His book, Algo Speak, probably captures all of this messiness and contradiction. But in this particular video, while the gatekeeping observation was spot on, he at least appears to miss how chaotic and unplanned most of this really is. Bold text, AI, and attachment theory. A link for Rob Brooks, A Natural History of the Future. Researchers at Waseda University have published a study link that shows people form measurable emotional bonds with generative AI, and those bonds follow similar attachment patterns to human relationships. I feel like this is very much unrelated. They first ran a pilot survey with 56 Chinese adults who already used LLMs. On the classic Who To checklist, 75% said they would count on AI for advice when they were struggling. 20% would turn to it for comfort when upset. 39% felt they could always count on it. Functions normally played by close human relationships. Building on that pilot, the team created a 7-item experiences in human AI relationship scale and validated it with a new sample of 242 participants. AI-specific attachment scores sit on their own track. In the 242-person validation sample, AI attachment anxiety overlaps only modestly with human attachment anxiety, and AI attachment avoidance shows no reliable link to human attachment avoidance. But once you look within the AI relationship, the classic patterns reappear. Higher AI attachment anxiety goes with lower self-esteem, whereas higher AI attachment avoidance predicts cooler attitudes towards AI and less frequent chatbot use. In other words, your style of attaching to AI is largely separate from how you attach to people. But once that style is in place, it operates according to the same logic. Anxiety maps onto the shaky self model, and avoidance maps onto distrust and disengagement, just as interpersonal attachment theory would predict. Why does this matter? Provided the results aren't culturally specific, it helps us spot who might be vulnerable to manipulative design, or conversely, who might benefit from using AI as a low-stakes space to practice healthier relationship habits. Like Leah Prime and I discussed when evaluating friend.com, maybe there is hope yet for LLMs to be training wheels for the socially anxious.
Sorry, I got you messy.
It's really nice up here. How'd you find this place?
I don't know. I just kind of like to come up here to be by myself. I've never brought anybody else. I mean, besides her.
She goes everywhere with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess I must be doing something right then.
I guess so. We'll see.
Oh, that was weird. Friend.com. It's such a weird vibe from this, man. Traumagachi Redeemed. Why does it have a link to that? Am I not reading the right article? Objects and waifus of our affection. Last week I gave a talk at Visions NYC about animism, fictosexuality, and what they have to do with commerce. Old head readers will already be familiar with the term. It's one of my favorite topics, but if you're not, fictosexuality is when people develop romantic or sexual feelings for fictional characters. An article in Clausius Scientific Press argues that fictosexuality rests on three intertwined dynamics: mediated social interaction, which lets people practice relating to others. There it is again. Emotional compensation, when real world ties feel unsafe or unsatisfying. Identity exploration, freed from real life constraints. The authors highlight the positive side of these bonds, emotional support and community, but they also remind us that companies know exactly how to exploit these emotional connections. In other words, your waifu isn't just a character, she's a business model. Machines don't fear the black pill, nor does the wind, the sun, and the rain. Oh, so these are just your thought stream. I understand that. What is it called? Thought digest. I thought it was going to be specifically about incels, but it's also going to AI, and I don't necessarily see the connection here, but it is a thought stream, so oh, it just ends there. This week's theme is Don't Fear the Black Pill. Her footnote says, I'm in a very anxious headspace. The Buddhism, apholism, AI relationship marathon has been mentally, emotionally taxing. What is the meaning of life? Why humans? Bullet point 2, especially since I'm not sure I'm in any position to be, well, actuallying anyone. Okay, this was... I'm glad I could take a look at Katherine Dee. I really didn't get much out of this, however. Not very clear. Should we watch this video? I don't think I'm allowed to watch a video.
I started infiltrating the world's largest incel forum, and I'm not talking about the normie stuff like 4chan, I'm talking about the really dark corners of the internet. Now, to be clear, I was doing this for research for my book on internet slang because I wanted to find out why so much of our modern slang comes from this weird far-right misogynistic group. I mean...
Yeah, definitely not gonna listen to that fucking idiot. Well, thanks for joining me. Follow me on X. My name is Kineshisa, Kineshisa. Sorry, this video sucked. I just wanted to read from default.blog. It caught my attention, but I didn't look at it ahead of time, and that's my fault. So, hope you have a wonderful night. I'll see you in another video soon. Catch you later.